Hi, this is the second video where we're looking at the Edexcel foundation tier, and it's from the June 2018 series of papers. In the previous video we completed to question number 12, so we're going to start here from question number 13 onwards. Please do stop the video, have a go at each of the questions and then compare your solutions. Okay, so let's move on then to question number 13. Okay, question number 13. We've got a series of graphs and we're asked to match each equation in the table to the correct graph, and we need to write the letter of the graph in the table itself. Okay, so the first one is, it's going to be a little bit tricky to see on the video, but hopefully it'll be okay. The first one is y equals 2. Okay, well, the y-axis is this axis along here. Okay, but actually the values of y are the ones where effectively you go down or up the stairs. Okay, so the values of x are along here and the values of y are along here. Okay, so in this particular question, graph D is the one where y equals 2. Okay, so the next one then would be y equals x. Okay, so if we look at all the graphs, then at the point where the value of x equals the value of y, then that must be the line of y equals x. So in this particular case, f is the graph that is the second on the list. And then finally we've got x plus y equals 2. Okay, this one's a little bit trickier, but if you can imagine, when the value of x is 0, then the value of y must be 2. Okay, so when the value of x is 0, the value of y must be 2. Or when the value of x is 2, then the value of y must be 0. So in this particular one, graph A would be x plus y equals 2. Okay, hope that's okay for you. Let's move on then to question number 14, which deals with stem and leaf diagrams. And what we're being given is a series of data and asked to show this information, stem and leaf diagram. Okay, the interesting thing here is there's quite a big gap between the actual diagram at the bottom here, which is I think the thing that they want us to fill out, and then a big space in here. And the reasoning behind that is that the numbers are not in order. So actually what we can do is we can create a stem and leaf diagram, okay, and then we put the numbers into order. So maybe the question itself isn't quite correct. It says show this information in A. It should be in an ordered stem and leaf diagram. Okay, but nevertheless we can kind of work through that, where we've got basically a key, and the key in this particular case, I'm just going to choose the first number, 76. Okay, so 76 equals 76. Okay, and that's really the standard that I'm going to adopt with the rest of this diagram. So let's draw this out, and obviously in this particular case you need to be familiar with how stem and leaf diagrams work. Okay, but I'm going to just put in 6 to 9 along there, because no number is less than 60 or greater than 99. Okay, and then really it's just a case of filling in the numbers. So 76, which we started with, would go here, then 82, 84. Okay, and you can see what I'm doing is I'm putting a little line underneath each one as I do it. Now the reason I'm doing that is because it just makes it a little bit easier to ensure that I've got all the correct information as I'm going along. Okay, and then when we finish this, we'll be in a position where we can actually then put this into a proper ordered stem and leaf diagrams. And they do actually have their uses. Stem and leaf diagrams famously really are very good for working out things like the modal. Okay, the modal value, and you can very clearly see the modal value when you've got the diagram set up properly. So there are various uses for it, and it is just a way really of presenting data. Okay, so we're pretty much finished, all right? And you can see here that I've got all the numbers, but they're all in they're not particularly in any great order. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this information here, and I'm going to put it down here, okay? And I've already written the key, so I'm going to leave the key as it is, but I'm going to write 6, 7, 8, and 9 again, okay? And this time I can go back to the first row. You can't really see that on the video, but the first row here, and just put 4, 7, 9, 9, and that keeps everything nicely in order. And then I'm going to do exactly the same for the 7s. Okay, 0, 0, 1, 5, 6, 6, 7. Again for the 8s, 0, 0, 2 zeros, yeah, 1, 1, 2, 4, 7, and then finally 1 and 4 for the 91 and 94. Okay, hopefully that's okay for you, and that would give you 3 marks for that particular part of the question. The final 2 marks is, it says one of the students is going to be chosen at random. The pass mark in the French test is 71. Omar writes, the probability the student failed the French test is 1/4. Omar is wrong. Explain why. Okay. Right, okay, well, what we're looking at really is that we know that we've got 20 students, okay? So actually, 1/4 in terms of the number of students we've got would be exactly the same as saying 5 out of 20. So basically what Omar is saying is, did 5 out of 20 students fail the test? Well, actually, because the pass mark is 71, which is here, we can hopefully see that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 students who unfortunately failed this particular French test. Okay, so you could put 6 out of 20 failed, and that is more than 5 out of 20. Okay. Put a little arrow up there, and that makes it perfectly clear. Okay, hopefully that's okay for you. Let's move on then to question number 15. Question number 15, we're working out BIDMAS. So it says Jenny is asked to find the value of that. Here is her working. Jenny's answer is wrong. Okay, they seem to quite like putting these wrong things. So Omar was wrong before, and now Jenny is wrong. Okay, explain what Jenny has done wrong. Well, what Jenny has done wrong is she's not really used BIDMAS. And what BIDMAS is that it's what's called the order of operations. It's the way in which we do things. Okay, so people know it as that. Okay, I've got to say it's better to write it as that, okay, because division and multiplication has the same value, if you like, the same order value as has addition and subtraction. So just be very careful. I have seen a few students comment sometimes where they've applied this, and it's not strictly true in that that order. Okay, a little bit difficult to explain on this particular video, and I'd need examples, but hopefully that comment will resonate with people. The other thing is you might come across is that I have seen some teachers will say, well, it's actually BODMAS, and that's an O rather than an I, and the O just basically means order. In this particular case, it means index or indice. Okay, either way, let's have a look at what Jenny's been doing. Okay, well, this should have used BIDMAS. So if she'd have used BIDMAS, okay, what she would have done is the multiplication first. So this would have been her actual calculation. She would have calculated 2 times 4, which is 8, and then taken that number away from 12. So 12 minus 8 equals 4, and that would have been her correct answer. Okay, so Rehan is asked to find the range of the numbers. Here is his working. This is wrong. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of wrong answers on this particular paper. Okay, well, the range is the highest to the lowest. Now, unfortunately for Rohan, he's not chosen the correct high number. The range is actually the difference between 8 and 1, which equals 7. Okay, and that would be fine for that particular question. All right, let's have a look then at the next question in the paper, which is question number 16. Okay, and 16, we just got a little bit of working out to do. Okay, and it says Alan, Bispa and Chan. Okay, so I think before we go any further, let's just have a look at that, okay? Well, what that actually means is that we've got A, B and C, if you like. A, B and C, okay? And then it says Alan gets 1/8 of the money, which is, according to later on, £2.50, okay? So that 1/8 is actually equal to £2.50, okay? Right. And then what we've got to do is work out how much money Bispa gets. Okay, well, let's just start from this point here. So 1/8 of the money equals £2.50. So let's put that into kind of a bit more of a sum. So 1/8, £2.50 equals 1/8 of the money. Okay. So if I want to find out how much money there is altogether, then I'm going to multiply it through by 8. Okay, if I do that, I've got 1/8. So if I want to find out a whole, or 8/8, I can multiply that through. So I get 8 times £2.50 equals all the money. Okay, now 8 multiplied by £2.50 is equal to £20. Okay, so we know that £20 is the amount of money that is spread between A, B and C. Okay, now we've got to work out how much money Bispa gets, and we're told that she gets half the money, so she must get half of £20, which is £10. Okay, so Bispa gets half of £20, which equals £10. Okay, hopefully that's all right. Then it says, the next little bit is find the ratio of the amount of money Alan gets to the amount of money Chan gets. Okay, give your answer in the form A to B, where A and B are whole numbers. Okay, well, let's just have a look at how we're going to work that out. So we've got Alan. Okay, now we're told that Alan gets £2.50, so we're okay with that one. And then we've got to work out Chan. Well, the difficulty with Chan is that we don't quite know, but we do know that there's £20 altogether, and we've got to take away actually £12.50. Now, the reason that is because Bispa had £10 and Alan had £2.50. So it must be correct that Chan actually gets £7.50, okay, which is that plus that, and take that away from £20, okay. So that really does actually answer the question, other than this little bit where it says give your answer in the form A to B, where A and B are whole numbers. Okay, there's a couple of different ways to do this. If it was me personally, what I would do is I would try to get rid of these 0.5 and 0.5 there, but just by doubling it. I would make that 5 and make that 15, okay? Well, they're both whole numbers. If I want to make that into the simplest form, I could divide through by 5, so I get 1 to 3, okay? I would imagine on the marking scheme, if you wrote 5 to 15, that would be absolutely fine, or if you simplified it to 1 to 3, that would be absolutely fine as well. So I just write that in the little number, the little answer area over here as 1 to 3. Okay, hopefully that's okay for you. Let's move on then to question number 17. I would encourage you to stop the video, have a go at each of the questions, and then compare your solutions. Okay, so we're about 14 minutes into the video. I'm going to keep this going for about another 10 minutes or so, hopefully, and that will take us through to most of the paper, and should give you about an hour's worth of fairly focused revision. So it says ABC is an isosceles right angle triangle. The area is that. Work out the value of x. Okay, all right, well, really this is just a case of applying a formula, okay? So what we're told is the area is that, and hopefully back from primary school actually, or the early part of high school, you would come across the formula that area of a triangle equals a half base times height. Okay, now some people will say base times height over 2. That's perfectly correct, not a problem at all. You can do that if you want to. I don't tend to use that particular formula, but it doesn't really matter. And if time was allowing, we could do both formulas side by side and you would still get the same result. Okay, so let's just plug in some numbers. So the area we're told is 162. Half I'm going to leave. Now the base, if you can imagine, the triangle is the other way around, so it's kind of standing sort of upright like that. The base is going to be 3x and the height is going to be 3x. Okay, so the base is 3x and the height is also 3x. Okay, right, so we need to now start to simplify and work this through. Well, 162 I'm going to leave as it is. Okay, half I'm going to leave as it is. Now I've got 3x times 3x. Well, 3x times 3x is 9x squared. Okay, now don't be too concerned at this point because usually these sorts of things do work out reasonably well. So 9x squared. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the brackets by multiplying this by half. So I actually get 4.5x squared. Okay. Now, I need to divide both sides by 4.5 in order to get rid of this 4.5. So if I divide by 4.5 both sides, on the right hand side it cancels out and I just get left with x squared. Okay, so that's all right. Okay, I can work with x squared, and very, very neatly on the left hand side I get 36. Okay, well 36 is actually a square number, so what I can do is I can square root that on my calculator and I get x equals 6. Okay, now you'll see that with this I've kept the x on the right hand side here, and I think one of the things that is very, very useful with algebra is to kind of try to keep the what's called the unknown on the side that it's in, particularly if it's positive. Okay, so the value of x in this particular case will be 6. So a little bit of a tricky question, but you need to just apply the formula through. Okay, question number 18, work out the value of. Well, we are on a calculator paper, but the problem is that if you pop all of that into a calculator, what you'll end up with is 23 0 0 0 0 0. Okay, now that would give you possibly 1 mark because it is a calculation. However, it's not giving you the final bit, which is work out or give your answer in standard form. Well, standard form is where the first number is between 1 and 9. Okay, so we need to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places so that this number is below 9. Okay, so that will give me 2.3 times 10 to the 6, and that would be the answer to that particular question. Okay, let's move on then to question number 19. Okay, we're about 20 minutes in, so hopefully you're okay with this and you've had the opportunity to work through some of these questions. It's a big question on 1 page for 1 mark, okay, or at least the first bit of it is just for 1 mark, and it gives you a scattergram, shows the age of each girl and the best time she takes to run 100 meters. Okay, write down the type of correlation. Okay, well, generally with scattergraphs it's always a good idea just to draw in a line of best fit. Okay, hopefully I'll be able to do this okay on the video. And there we go, there's my line of best fit. Oh, I missed that bit up there, so I'll just move that up a little bit. Okay, there we go, got a line of best fit in there. And it says write down the type of correlation. Well, it's actually a negative one. Okay. All right, and that would be okay for that 1 mark. Let's move on then to part B. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the question. Hopefully you'll be able to view it, and then I'll just refer it back to this particular diagram. So it says Christina is 11 years old. Her best time to run 100 meters 12 seconds. Okay, the point representing this information would be an outlier. Okay, so let's have a look at the point that represents this information. Well, basically, if she is 11 years of age, okay, so here she is at 11, and she can run this particular race in 12 seconds. Amazing. Okay, so this definitely is an outlier. Okay, and what we say really is that it's outside the line of best fit. Okay, so if we go to the actual text itself, we're going to say that it's outside the line of best fit. Okay, and it's, if you want, you can put it's marked on diagram. Okay, and that would be sufficient for that particular question. Okay, Debbie is 15 years old. Debbie says the scatter diagram shows that I should take less than 12 seconds to run 100 meters. Okay, so these come up quite a lot, actually. There always seems to be 1 mark on these types of questions. So if we go back to the graph itself, she's 15 years of age, so she would be down here somewhere. But the problem is we haven't got any data past this. We haven't got any more information. So what we can say about that particular question is that there is just simply not enough information. Okay, and you could write a fuller sentence than I have, but it's sufficient to say that there's just not enough information to say that. And sometimes this type of question does come up, so just write a line like that and that would be perfectly fine. Okay, expand and simplify. So we've got to expand and simplify this particular expression. Okay, the biggest problem you're going to have with this is this -2 right in the very middle. Okay, you've got to be really careful when you get a negative inside one of these types of things. Now, the reason being is because it's absolutely fine to expand the first bracket. 5 times p is 5p, and 5 times plus 3 is plus 15. But don't forget, when you do the second bracket, it's going to be -2 times 1, which is -2. But then it's going to be -2 times -2p, which is plus 4p. Okay, so there's a very good chance if you miss that negative you can get this wrong. Okay, so we've got now something that just needs tidying up. So if I bring the p's together, I'm going to get 9p, and then I've got plus 15 minus 2, well, that's going to be plus 13, and that would answer this particular question. Okay, hope that's okay for you. I think 20 minutes into the video, we're on about question number 20. So I think what we'll do is stop there. That seems to be a good length of video. Hopefully it's been useful to you. Please do add a comment below if you're not sure about anything. I'll always come back to you. Please do subscribe to the channel, and I'll look forward to seeing you inside the next video, where we'll be starting from question number 21.